Kamusna Kayo.
Hola, hola, everyone.
What's good, everybody? My name is Nico Blitz,
And I'm Jackie Ramirez.
and this is the Mexipino podcast, episode 41, my friends. And before we start the podcast, I do want to say I'm feeling a little bit under the weather. So if it sounds like I have something in my nose, I definitely do.
If he sounds nasally, he is.
Yeah, I definitely
Because
am.
yeah. Um,
And
yeah.
and I think I know how I got sick. So my family and I, we went to the movies the other night to watch the new Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. And I'm assuming because we had one big ass popcorn bucket to share, and we were all picking from that same popcorn bucket, that it came basically from that popcorn bucket. Someone in the family was sick, which led to me getting sick because then my mom's also sick too. And I'm just like, that's the only way we all would have shared the exact same thing.
Have we learned nothing through this pandemic, babe?
I've learned that sharing is definitely not caring. If you share your shit, you're gonna get sick.
All
Hey, you like how that
right,
rhymes too?
that
Hey,
was a good one. That was a
if you
good
share
one.
your shit, you're gonna get sick. Amen to that.
Well, I think that was the whole premise of this pandemic too. So
Yeah,
I don't think you
basically.
came up with anything like anything that we haven't been preaching these past 2 years.
Facts.
But
But
like Nico mentioned, he did go to the movies with his family to see the new Black Panther movie, Wakanda Forever. And I actually went by myself because we were doing like a special screening for some listeners through the radio station that I work at. And yeah, since Nico's in the Bay, I was like, solo dolo. And I actually enjoyed going to the movies alone.
oh
It
really?
was, yeah, it was kind of like nice and quiet. And I'm just like, wow. And then when the movie, like prior to the movie starting, I had anxiety. The movie played and I was just like, okay, I'm relaxed. And then the movie like ended and I was just like, I have to walk out alone. My anxiety's back.
See, I've never thought that it's like weird to watch a movie by yourself, right? And I'm not talking about like Netflix type stuff, but like I'm talking about going to the theater and watching a movie by yourself. Like I remember this was actually on my birthday when I first moved to LA. There was a new Dragon Ball movie that just came out. And it was only in selected theaters and it was only going to show during that week. So I said, "You know what? For my birthday, I think it was like my 23rd birthday or something like that. And my first year in LA, I bought tickets and I watched the movie by myself with a whole bunch of like other weebs inside the theater. And I'm like, this was actually pretty cool. Like, I like watching the movies by myself.
I like how you said that your first year here, you turned 23 and I just turned 24.
I'm sick, literally and figuratively.
Literally and figuratively, but yeah, we're gonna be the Black Panther movie was incredible. We
Insane.
are going to be talking about it today, so if you haven't seen it yet, there are spoilers in this movie. Um, so you guys can go watch it, then come back, and then
Yeah.
deep dive
Well,
into the Black Panther movie. But we do want to give a disclaimer that there are going to be spoilers because some people like to know what's going to happen and anticipate a movie and like know and expect what's going to happen. Other people are just like, don't spoil it for me. But
yeah.
I'm one of those people who doesn't like to spoil a movie or doesn't want a movie spoiled to me. But how long can you actually wait to spoil a movie?
Yeah, see, that's the day old question, right? Like how long? Because sometimes it takes forever for me and Jackie to actually watch a movie. Sometimes it'll take us like a week, sometimes it'll take us 2 weeks. Sometimes if the movie and I feel like after 2 weeks, the movie like for real like loses its like initial buzz. So at
Mhm.
least for me, I feel like you have a 2 week window before you can actually start spoiling a movie for somebody. But you also have to consider the fact that like Twitter and Instagram and everything is going to spoil it already. So
That's
there's
true.
kind of like no way you can avoid it.
You can actually.
How?
Twitter, like even when it comes to like shows and everything too that I watch, I'll go on like my muted list on Twitter and I'll mute the words of like the movie or the person or the show or whatever it involves. So that way I don't see it. And then that way, once I want to like actually after I see a movie or something, I'll just unmute it and I see everything.
Oh, I didn't know you
Yeah.
could do that.
You could do that on Twitter. But then also to I think in my opinion, you can spoil a movie once it's off like the theater list. Does that make
That's
sense?
smart. Yeah, that's
Like
smart.
after it's not in theaters anymore, I'm like, all right, if you didn't watch it while it was in theaters, then that's on you. I'm gonna tell you how it ends.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But I mean,
That's
that
just my
takes
rule
for
of thumb.
that's like forever though. Like I feel like
I
Black
think that's
Panther would
like
stay in there for like a month, you know?
I think that's like 3 weeks,
Okay, something around that. Yeah,
something
something
around.
around that. But the reason why we are talking about Black Panther though is because there is a lot of Mesoamerican and Mexican culture within the movie. And the gist of it was super cool because Jackie watching the movie by herself, like she felt proud, super proud to be Mexican. And I'm over here just like, what? Like
Well,
from
because I
watching
had
Black
seen it,
Panther
because I had seen it before Nico did. Like I had watched it like what like
a
3 or
couple
4 days
days, yeah.
before. And so like I was texting him. I was like, I feel so represented. Like I feel like just so included, and it's really cool how they just involved this Mesoamerican culture and Latino culture and Mexican culture into the Black Panther movie. And I have seen, and I want to bring this up because like it's kind of like, I don't know. This is just my opinion on it. A lot of people on Twitter, like they're just saying the people who like to have like just be bitter about everything on Twitter are having a debate as to why they have to share a movie for black and brown. Why couldn't just
Are you
black?
serious?
Yeah, I'm being dead ass. Like there's that debate right now. It's like, why do we have to share? And I think that's such an ignorant way to think
Yeah.
because it's it doesn't matter. There's representation. That's what it is at the end of the day for me, that there's representation. I don't
That
get mad if it's like a predominantly brown movie and there's black supporting actors, or other different races of actors. There's like Asian supporting actors or anything like that. I don't care. As long as there's representation, I don't give a shit.
well, that's what I'm saying. Like, this isn't the first time we've seen, you know, I guess brown people, let's just say Mexicans in like black movies. This isn't the first time we've seen like any of that.
Hmm.
But this is the first time that Marvel has done it, and Marvel did it in a very obvious way. But I think if you look at what happened over the past couple of years, especially with the black and the brown community, like there's been a lot of unity.
Absolutely.
Especially when Trump was trying to like build this wall and all that stuff. Like everyone was like, for Mexicans, like, no, we're not building this freaking wall. I even remember Real 92.3, the station that Jackie works at, like there was a whole slogan of just like we're building together in the black and brown community. So it's kind of astonishing to me that I mean, I like it doesn't matter who said it. It doesn't matter if you're a black person who said stuff like that or a brown person who said like oh, why did we have to like put everything together? The fact is like we're building together. We're opening doors for each other.
And
So,
honestly, I view Black Panther, the new Black Panther movie, as like a black excellence meets brown brilliance type of thing.
mm,
That's how I view it as, and I feel like that's how a lot of people should view it as if they have those ignorant ways of thinking.
yeah,
Because, like I said, this is a moment, and I could be wrong on this, but this is, well, at least for me, this is the first time I'm seeing a brown superhero, a brown,
yeah,
like, leading role in a superhero Marvel setting, storyline. And I'm so excited. Like I was telling Nico, I'm so excited to see what they do with the new like storyline of the Talocans, of Namor, of like all this in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, because I feel so represented. And I was like, oh my God, they're so badass. Like they're
yeah,
so cool.
yeah. Well, I think also, people need to realize too, at the end of the day, if you're not white, you're basically looked at as like a minority or a person of color. So it only makes sense for us to help each other to get to those places, you know?
Hmm.
I mean, and I don't know like the straight up statistics, right? But it's like you obviously see like a lot more white people in movies. Um, in my opinion, there's actually a lot of like black movies that come after that. And then you see a lot of more representation for like Mexican and Latinos after that. And then you see Asians after that. And that's
Hmm.
my opinion. I could totally be wrong. But that's just what I've seen.
Yeah,
So
and
it only makes sense for us to like walk through together now that like I feel like black people have like opened up those doors for themselves. And
mhm.
I'm actually very thankful that Ryan Coogler would even allow to like let Mexicans like go through that door as well, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I was definitely gonna say that right now. Like, I give huge props to Ryan Coogler because he created a new storyline for the Talocans, which is the new, universe nation. There's a new nation in the Marvel Cinematic Universe that's being presented in this movie. Like, and I told Nico this, I didn't know, but originally Namor in the comics was white presenting,
Mm,
and Ryan Coogler said, no, we're not going to do that. Like, I want this to be something completely different. And he did it. And he did it in such a right way, I think. Like he took the time. You can tell he took the time to understand Mesoamerica. He took the time to understand the Mayan culture too, because there is a lot of Mayan culture involved in this. There's the Mayan language involved in this movie, which is
yeah.
a extremely hard language. I mean,
Yeah.
very very few people in the world know that now.
Yeah.
So I think it's super cool because I mean it's just amazing to see where I came from be presented on screen, be presented in Hollywood, and be just there in your face on a big screen. And something I was telling Nico is that in one of the scenes where in the movie where they visit like the Talocan city and their nation underwater, um, they're actually playing an old Mayan sport. And this sport has many names, but it's called Pokatok. And I would say it's kind of like soccer in a sense, but completely different than soccer. Like you just
And the
have,
goal is hella high in the air.
yeah, and all you use are your hips. Like you can't use your hands, and it's just it's a crazy thing. And I was telling Nico that I felt so happy seeing that on screen because when I was younger, I went on a family vacation to Xcaret, and I saw an actual arena of Pokatok, and I was just like, "Oh my gosh!" Like my brother has, uh, like a print of them playing that, and he used to have it in his room. And to see it on screen, I'm just like, "Oh my gosh, Ryan Coogler, you're like a genius!" Like,
Yeah.
and granted, somebody might have told him like, "Hey, I think we should put this in there," but it's the fact that like at the end of the day, he's a director, and he said, "Yeah, let's put it in there."
Yeah, and the fact that it was included, I remember seeing it in the movie too. The Pokatok, I guess, like goal, and
Hmm.
I guess like the equivalent of what a soccer ball would be.
Yeah.
And so I'm looking at it, I'm like, yeah, like I know what this game is. Like I've seen this before. But for people who don't necessarily know what Pokatok is, like, it's an ancient Mayan sport, and basically it was used to like not only for like games and all that, but like it was also used to like settle conflicts between people. And think of it this way, y'all. It was a battle, it was a game to the death.
Literally to
It
the
was
death.
literally a game to the death. The
The
losing side would get sacrificed to the gods.
Well, the leader of the losing side would
Well,
get.
the leader of the lose. I mean, at that point, I'm like, I don't want to be the leader. I'm not leading this pack over here. I'll be the
uh,
secondary player.
like I said, this is all like speculation as to this is what they use it for in ancient Mayan culture, for games and for actual, like to settle disputes. But the reason that they say this is because in those arenas, in those Pokotok arenas, there is like, drawings and carvings in the arena, and it would show pictures of decapitation.
Crazy.
So
Crazy.
then that's when people were saying like, "Oh, like we believe like when we discovered it later on here in like more recent time, that's when they were like, "Oh, we believe that, the ancient Mayan culture, this is what they used to settle conflicts and this and that." But because of the decapitation, some people also believe that heads and skulls were used as balls for this game.
See, that's so crazy.
Now,
Nah, that's crazy because like I'm thinking about a human skull, right? Like
mhm.
unless you put that human skull like inside like some sort of like rubber or something, like if you kick it, I'm pretty sure it would like break.
Yeah, but you would have to have like so I remember like I said in Ishkared when we went, we actually saw a game. There's people that still play that game. And it's like a pretty like it's like I would say like a basketball size type of ball, but I
Yeah.
think it's like made with leather too.
Yeah.
Like the
Well,
outer layers leather.
yeah, just to paint the picture even more, I think people would kind of relate it to like a modern day Quidditch. You know,
Quidditch.
it's like quit. I mean, minus the flying, obviously, but it's like
I'm like
Quidditch.
Quidditch is still a fantasy sport, man.
No, no, but like you know what I mean. Like in Quidditch, you have like all these rings like in the air, and then you shoot the ball through it. You're trying to catch the golden snitch. I don't think there's
Yes.
a golden snitch per se in this particular
I
Poketok game, but like you basically have the ball and you got to shoot it through like a basically levitating goal,
yes.
elevated goal rather.
I would say it's like a mixture of Quidditch, soccer, and racquetball in a sense.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's actually a better
Pokatok.
depiction. Pokatok,
Pokatok.
Pokatok. But
Oh my
there were
god.
also like so many things that I learned and Jackie and I learned about like all the actors. Like there are so many actors that I didn't even know in regards to the Tolokan tribe. And
Tolakan. Tolakan.
Tolokan. Oh, my bad.
Talokan.
The notes, I think I mistyped on the notes.
Oh,
Tolokan.
Talokan.
Talokan,
Talokan.
Talokan. But
Mhm.
yeah, Jackie did some research and she actually found like the backgrounds of like at least the main actors for the Tolakan
Mhm.
tribe.
So, the main new character that we see in the Marvel Cinematic Universe is Namor. He is played by Tenoch Huerta, who is Mexican. So shout
Woo!
out Tenoch. Another character we see in this new universe is Namora, which is Namor's cousin.
Mm-hmm.
And that is played by Mabel Cadena, who did such an incredible job and such a badass character too.
Super
She's also
badass.
Mexican, so shout out Mabel. And then we have Alex Liviani. Liviani? Yes, Liviani. Um, he plays Atuma, which is another character, a leader in like I guess their army. Um,
Yeah, he was like the bigger, bulkier, Hulk looking
yeah,
dude.
yeah, he was, and
Yeah, yeah.
he's still a badass character too. He's Venezuelan, so he's from Venezuela, obviously. And then we have Maria Mercedes Coroy, which is Princesa Fan, which is in the movie Namor's mom. She is from
Yes.
Guatemala. She's Guatemalan. And yeah, I like it's just so cool to see all these Latin Americans who like participated in Black Panther and got the opportunity to be a part of such an incredible what's a like movie franchise,
Mm-hmm.
because it's just so like heartwarming. It's so like cool to see that, I don't know, it's very awesome seeing interviews after and like during and all this press release, because I see the Notch talking and I'm just like, he sounds like my family member. Like he just sounds hella Mexican. Like I love it. It's so cool. And it's awesome to see that, granted, I know for some movies you need to have an accent. You need to have this but like for me, Namor's character, his accent, and then seeing his Tenoch actually do live interviews and press, and to see that, okay, he's not doing an accent, this is just actually how he talks, and he made it, he made it just with some language barrier, because there is still some language barrier, but it's not a stereotypical accent, you know? It's a
Yeah.
true accent.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like he made it from just unapologetically being him.
Mhm.
You know, it's like he didn't have to change up like how he talked. You know, obviously he had to like get into character and whatnot. But like I feel like as an actor, well, I'm not an actor, but like I
Mhm.
would feel like as an actor, the difficult thing is like put yourself in the shoes of someone who you might not want to be. But
Mhm.
he totally just owned this role and he is who the character is. Like he talks the way he talks. He like knows the history and everything. And I would say that Tenoch did like a really good freaking job playing Namor.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and uh, this movie is obviously his breakthrough movie, but he has been in other things before. I mean, I know he's been in Narcos. He's been where what else
The
we have?
Forever
Oh, The
Purge.
Forever Purge, which we just like realized is
I
an
didn't even know
actual.
that movie existed. So I'm just
I
like, where
didn't.
what
Because so when I saw Tenoch on screen, I was like, or like actually in the trailers, I was just like, I've seen him before, and then I found out he's part of Narcos Mexico, and I was just like, okay, that's where I know him from. But he did such a good job playing Namor, and it's funny because Tenoch is Tenoch Huerta is like a shortened, condensed version of his name.
Yeah, it is.
His full name is actually Jose Tenoch Huerta Mejia.
Yes, yes.
And I mean, obviously, for reasons, they probably told him to condense his name.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I also get it too because I think when you're going from like, well, let me put it this way. I think Tenoch Huerta is like a very very unique name.
It's a unique and strong name.
It's a unique and a very strong name. So I understand why they would want to go with Tenoch
Tenoch.
Huerta as
Mhm.
opposed to, you know, the entire name because the name his name Jose Tenoch Huerta Mejia is extremely long.
I mean, literally, if they called him Jose, they probably would have called him Charlie because Jose turns into well, because for my uncle, his name is Jose Carlos, and so we call him Charlie.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. I was about to say I don't know where Jose ends up becoming like Charlie
Like,
like
yeah,
eventually
like
down the line.
yeah, but that's like for my uncle, like his name is Jose Carlos, but we don't call him that. We call him Charlie.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I also don't want to do one more thing before we head on to Namora, Namor's cousin. I want to shout out Anthony or like an anti shout out to my boy Anthony Francisco because he kept on saying Namor. So I went in the movie thinking his name was Namor, and then they're like Namor, and I'm like, oh, it's actually Namor. But the cool thing about Namor though is like when they said his name, I understood the breakdown of his name like right away. Um,
Mhm.
because obviously Amor means love, and then Namor. I was over here thinking like before they did the reveal where the old priest ended up calling him like the spawn of the devil. I was like, I want to say Namor means like no love, and
I'm
then
sick.
when the priest ends up saying like you're the spawn of the devil, you had no love from your parents, I was like, I knew it. I knew it. I broke down the Spanish very quickly and very easily.
Yeah.
And
I
that's a
mean,
huge
but also
accomplishment for me personally.
but I do like Nico was saying our friend Anthony Francisco, who, if you guys have been following the podcast, was one of our guests on our previous episodes. He spilled a lot of the tea on the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So if you guys want to check that out too, go ahead and check that out. But he did actually tell us this was around the time of Comic Con, right after Comic Con actually. He came on the podcast and said that Namor is based on Latino and Filipino culture. And he actually designed some of the pieces that is part of Namor's gear. And it's
Mm-hmm.
so incredible. It's so incredible that, he was telling us. And the entire time I'm looking at Namor and I'm just like, oh my gosh, our friend did that. Like, our friend
Yeah.
is a part of that. Like, that's so cool. So
Yeah.
cool.
It made me feel represented though. Like just watching Namor do his thing, like even though he isn't Filipino, just knowing the fact that his gear had that representation or had influence rather from both Filipino and Mexican cultures. I'm like, you know what? I feel a little bit of Filipino pride watching Namor doing this thing. So shout out to Namor and
Yeah.
shouts out to Anthony Francisco, the homie.
Yeah.
And
So shout out to him.
you know what's so funny about language too is that like especially prevalent in Spanish, also happens in Italian, is that namor being like the male version, namora being the female version. It's funny, yeah. All you gotta do is just add an a at the end, and then it's all of a
Ah.
sudden a female character.
Yeah, it's just that distinguishes like feminine versus masculine.
I know. I'm surprised it wasn't like namoro. You get what I'm saying?
Namoro. No, it didn't make sense.
But
But Namora is played by Mabel Cadena, who is an incredible, incredible actress in her own regards, too. I mean, something that stuck out to me that I didn't know, and shout out to, hold on, I really want to get her name right. Give me one
yeah,
second. I really want to get her name right. Hold on. Pause. This is how you know we're doing the live podcast and that we
right.
just keep things on here. Hold on. I really want to get her name right because I don't want to butcher her name. Hold
Who
on.
is this person that you're talking about?
Um, the girl that I recently followed from Me Too.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. So to kind of put some background, Jackie and I ended up watching a whole bunch of like YouTube videos after I watched Black Panther, and this girl from this collective called We Are Me Too, she ended up interviewing all of the Black Panther actors, and they were eating like ancient Mesoamerican food. So it
Mm-hmm.
was cool because as we were watching this video, I didn't know any of this food. Obviously, Jackie had like an idea of like what this food was, but it was cool. Just like like one of those hot wings type of videos. It was kind of like that.
Yes. Yeah. So, back to where I was going. Mabel Cadena, I found out through an interview with We Are Me Too, and the report or the journalist herself, Jess, who shout out to Jess. She just became a U.S. citizen too, so I am super happy for her. She conducted this interview with the whole Black Panther cast, and she actually said that Mabel didn't know English before she got the role, so not only did she have to learn English, she also had to learn Mayan, which was mind blowing to me because it's like that is such an incredible like thing to do. Like I took 4 years of Japanese and I kind of remember stuff, but to
Yeah,
learn two languages in the time span of filming this movie, incredible. Like that is just beyond words that I could just like it's just like it's crazy. It's crazy. I don't know. I couldn't do that.
it's insane, right? Because at the same time too, it's like you have to jump between both of those accents as well, while
Mhm.
also in real life like trying to navigate through your own personal accent, and
Mhm.
then you have to get on the same page with the directors and the producers trying to understand what they're saying for in English, and they're probably telling you like, hey, you got to speak your lines in mine right now, and she's probably like,
Mhm.
oh shit, well, I gotta like pull so many strings just to get to this one scene or just to master this one scene. And I think she did a phenomenal job, especially knowing that information. But
Yeah.
I think also to say, like, I think when you're in the Marvel movies, like you got to do everything to make sure that you good to go because you in there for life, damn near.
You in there for life and you getting paid for
You
life
and
if
you
you're
and
in
you
the
getting
Marvel
paid.
Cinematic Universe.
Look, if
Yeah,
somebody
but
told me you got to learn Mayan for like a year and we gonna pay you this, oh yeah, let's run it up.
but it
We'll
also
figure it
shows
out.
that it also shows how committed and educated that these actors are too, because yes, Mabel didn't know English and she obviously didn't know Mayan, but she is very educated in her background. She has a bachelor's degree in psychology and a master's in acting too.
Crazy.
And
Yep.
that just goes to show that this is her passion, this is her career. And she's like, just seeing her through interviews that I've been watching, she's just so grateful. She's so appreciative. And I think that goes for all the new actors in this movie too, like the Noch and Alex as well. Like you could tell they're just so grateful to be a part of this franchise, and to they know the responsibility that comes with being a Latino and be representing Latinos,
Well, you know
they
what's
go
crazy
ahead.
is that like Jackie did actually find this interview too that Mabel was in, and you know people did not think that she or just Mexicans in general or people in color could have that responsibility of being a
Mhm,
superhero. You want to read what she
mhm.
said in the interview?
Yeah, so I found this article that Mabel did. It was an interview, and she actually said that this was her quote: I was told that people of color don't look good. They aren't depicted that way, that they would never be superheroes. For that reason, nabbing the role of Namor's powerhouse cousin represented facing all things that had represented facing all the things that she had heard as a child and turning them for good. Talking about representation, Cadena also explained how sometimes an image on screen is more powerful than describing certain things, and also remembered being constantly typecast in Hollywood. Roles such as playing a prostitute in the movie Asphalt Goddess made her wonder if she would only be offered a certain type of stereotypical part. It's not that they are bad roles, from far from it, but they didn't give me other parts. And like
Yeah.
I I struggle with that sometimes watching shows, watching movies. Like I see Latinos playing a prostitute. I see Latinos playing a narco. I see Latinos playing a cholo. I see like I just it's the same repetitive roles that we get just because we look brown. We
Yeah, and
are
it's
brown just because we are brown, and it sucks because there's so many actors and actresses out there that are so willing and so hardworking that we're just not given opportunities for these big roles just because the color of our skin, you
yeah.
know? And for it's finally nice to see that we're being given an opportunity. But what I wish, this is like kind of like, being a negative Nancy, I guess. What I wish is that, like, and like I said, shout out to Ryan Coogler, because you did give us that opportunity. You did give Tenoch and Alex and Mabel that opportunity, but it took a person of color to give a person of color a chance.
Yes.
It like how like it's like we're only gonna be like, is it that like we're only gonna be able to do it because one of us has to break the barrier first? It should just be a constant thing. It should be like, whether you're white, black, brown, whatever, you should be giving an equal chance to everybody.
Yeah. And I think this goes to a discussion that I've had with artists over the years. And this is kind of off tangent but also
Mhm.
relevant. Like I've had discussions with like Asian artists and I've always asked them the question over the past like 6 years, like when are Asian artists finally going to get the recognition that they deserve? And now I see it at a point in which like I see so many Asian artists. I see people like Twee, I see people like Audrey Nuna, I see people like Dana Martin, all the homies just flourishing. And to bring this back to the topic of Black Panther and how it represents for like Mexican and just people in color in general, we're getting Namor, we're getting Shang-Chi, we're
Mhm.
probably gonna get like the next Filipino superhero in the Marvel universe, like within the next couple of years.
Because
And
there is a
exactly,
Filipino
exactly.
superhero.
And you think about like Namor's story, and I'm not like a super Marvel geek or whatever. So if you think about Namor's story and how there's like Meso American and like Mexican background with that, can you imagine how many more storylines just fall under Namor? So it's
Mhm.
like Namor is just the first, but
Yeah.
there is gonna be a guaranteed more people who fall under that spectrum. And Namor was just he was the door opener.
Yeah,
He was
it
the door
really
opener
was.
for it.
I mean, like, shout out to Natalia too from the station that I work at because her mom is actually from Yucatan.
Mm,
And Yucatan is a city that was, that they showed it in the Black Panther movie. And she came into our studio and she said, guys, like, you need to watch this. Like, I was so proud. She goes, I even called my mom and said, like, mom, you need to watch this. Like,
that's
it,
cool.
like, that, like, Yucatan is in there. Your people, your home. And
Yeah.
it's just, all it just takes is one person to give the opportunity to another. And I think, with with our, like, with minorities, all we are hard workers. Minorities are hard workers. And I am so proud to say that. Like, when we are given a chance, we run with it. We don't take it for granted. We appreciate it. We are just constantly thankful, and we always thank God.
Yeah.
but but we just we need more, and we're able to. And I know that, like, this new wave of minorities that's taking over the entertainment industry, we're just, I literally just cannot wait to see how much it impacts, like, a whole new generation of entertainers, whether that's music artists, actors, actresses, you name it, entertainment reporters, anything like that. Like, there's just so much more of us now.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
So it
if you
makes
go
me
back
happy.
if you go back to like the discussion that we had about the music industry, it's like reggaeton's the biggest genre in the world right now.
I mean,
And
take a look at the Grammy nominations that just came out today. Like,
that's what I'm that's what I'm saying. So it's like, if you look at what's happening right now, it's like people of color are finally we were given the opportunity like not too long ago, but now the benefits are getting reaped. And you give it a couple more years, we're gonna see a lot more people like Tenoch. We're gonna see a lot more people like Mabel, a lot more people like Alex,
mhm.
and I love it. I'm here for it.
I'm here
I
for
want
it.
to. I want to see it all. I want to see
I
all of it.
Yeah, I'm so excited. I am. It just makes me proud. It makes me proud to be brown.
Yeah. Well, final thoughts on Black Panther. What would you rate it? 0 out of 10
I would
as an overall
rate it,
movie. As an overall movie.
overall movie, 8.2.
That's fair. That's
8.2.
that's fair. That's fair.
8.2 out of 10.
Why do you rate it there?
Because I loved, one, the representation, obviously. Two, I think the way, like, action wise, like, visual effects wise, everything was amazing. I didn't like one of the characters,
Which character?
Ironheart, Riri.
You didn't like Ironheart?
I didn't like her.
Okay, so
Unpopular opinion.
wait, why didn't you like her?
I didn't like her because I don't know. I felt like she was annoying.
Wow.
I just felt like, I don't know.
On the
Sometimes, like, I was like, when they were, like, trapped underwater and being held prisoner, I'm like, girl, shut up. Like, just let her do her thing, and maybe, just maybe, you'd get out.
on the contrary, I don't think they gave her enough like shine in that movie. And granted, there was a lot of things going on, right? Like the main storyline, T'Challa dies in the beginning. Spoiler alert. Um, and then they had to add in like the 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 Lacan tribe, and then they had to add Riri. I'm just like, there's a lot going on.
Yeah,
I felt like the reason why I wouldn't give it like a pure 10 is because of that reason, because they added in Gigi, but
Riri.
Riri rather, sorry, that's the sickness talking. They added Riri, and she she didn't have like as much of a prominent role as I would have liked her to have. So my rating is actually roughly around like where your rating is, like around like an 8.
Yeah. I just
I
like
guess.
I feel like if they gave her like a serious storyline rather than making her like this college like student who's like has anxiety, and like granted, yes, I know that most college students have anxiety, but like I feel like if they just gave her like a little bit more serious storyline, I would have liked her more.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But I think that'll open up the because she's supposed to be like the second coming of Iron Man, basically.
Ironheart.
Yeah, Ironheart.
Mhm.
So, I'm actually very excited to see like what they end up doing with her storyline. And I think Marvel's just doing an amazing thing. We're gonna get the Ironheart storyline. We're gonna get the Lacan storyline now. So let's keep it moving, keep it pushing like a pregnant woman with twins. Ryan Coogler, we
Oh my
appreciate
god.
you, my fam.
Yes, Ryan Coogler. If you want us to cover any red carpet, that'd be great.
Amen to that. Amen to that. Well, Mexipinos, the next podcast, Jackie and I will be together in real life. I'm actually going to be playing in a Filipino American basketball game. I guess that's the way you want to call it. Put together
The
by
Clippers.
1587. Yeah. So I'm going to be playing in a basketball game after the Clippers game at crypto.com arena, RIP Staples Center. And we're going to be playing with a whole bunch of like Filipino actors, comedians, artists, singers, and so on and so forth. So I'm just blessed as
Yeah,
a
so
Filipino artist slash DJ to do my thing. I'm probably gonna be super winded. I'm not gonna lie, but
oh,
I want
I'll
to share.
record. I'll record so that way we can include some footage in the next podcast.
Well, hopefully I'm done being sick by then because with me not working out and running and all that, and then me being sick, I'm just gonna keep on dishing the ball over.
You still need to run, by the way. I know you're sick, but maybe it'll help.
It might. We'll see about that. Anyways, my name is Nico Blitz.
And I'm Jackie Ramirez.
And this is the Mexipino podcast. Thank you for listening, everybody.
Adios.